Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And really what we're going to be going over today is some awesome SaaS deals on Acquire.com. So with that said, before I start diving into this, can I just get a thumbs up that everybody can see my screen okay? Okay, thank you, Nate. I just need one person.
All you need is one.
Just need one. Thank you, Bob. Okay. Um, for those of you that may not be familiar with us, we are Acquire.com. We are the world's #1 startup acquisition marketplace. And today we're going to be going over our April 2024 SaaS deal review. So in terms of an agenda, what we're going to be doing is quick introductions of myself and also James, my colleague, going over why you're here. And then we're going to dive into some deals that we think are interesting and give our thoughts on what makes them great, what makes some things about them where we'd want to dive in a little bit more to get comfortable with them. And then talk about how you can get matched with the best acquisition opportunities on Acquire.com. So without further ado, James Graves, pass it over to you for an intro.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. My name's James. I was here a couple weeks ago. If you met me there, we did a legal webinar that probably got like a quarter of the attendance today. So I know where people's interests definitely lie. I've been with Acquire for 2.5 years now. My background, I'm a lawyer by trade. I've been practicing law for almost 10 years now, some of which at big tech firms, some of which in private practice. And then some of which is here. So yeah, I work as general counsel here, and I also work on our deal team. So I see hundreds of listings a month, if not thousands. We're constantly evaluating. So I like to think I have some productive to add. I hope you find my take valuable too.
I can definitely confirm that James is awesome. Without further ado, I'm Andrew Gazdecki. I am the founder and CEO of Acquire.com. In a previous life, I was founder and CEO of a company called Business Apps and also a company called Allcoin, both of which acquired, and then won some awards that made my mom really proud. So really, I bring this up just to really point out I've been on kind of both sides of the table. So in terms of helping you get acquired or having my own companies acquired, I've seen the pain points firsthand. And so that's why I started Acquire.com to really make the best online marketplace to buy and sell startups. And that's really our mission at Acquire.com, is to ensure that every startup that we're working with, we help maximize their acquisition and really streamline and make the whole process more efficient. In terms of our impact, we've been in business about 4 years. We've done over 1,000 acquisitions in over 100 different countries. We have not done a deal in Antarctica. So if anyone has a friend in Antarctica looking to sell their business, we'd love to chat with them so we can cross that continent off our list. And then we've done well over 500 million closed transactions. And at this point, we have over, I believe we're approaching 500,000 in registered buyers. And then lots of live listings as well. So over 1,500 plus live listings with combined revenue totaling over $1 billion. So diving into the parts that are most important to you. So why are you here today? So we're going to go over the best deals and really what makes them special. We're going to talk about a monthly showcase of our biggest and best SaaS deals, going over how we pre-vet them and how we use our M&A advisory service to recommend them to you as a potential buyer. And then we're going to go through a live expert deal review where we're going to have Q&A to learn more if we have time at the end. And really just to kind of take a step back. So one of the core principles at Acquire.com is trust. And thank you, Igor. Love making mom proud. So when it comes to any sort of marketplace, brokerage house, or whatever it may be, trust is at the core of acquisitions. And so we have a strict vetting and curation process where we only accept about 40%. That number is actually lower of startups that get accepted onto the Acquire.com platform. And so we're really picky about the businesses that we do accept. And we unfortunately say no more than we say yes. And the reason we do that is because we want to have a marketplace full of high quality acquisition opportunities. And then we also have the guided listing process. And this makes it really easy to list your business. You can list your business literally within 5 minutes. And this includes ID and business verification for security. Again, really bringing trust and transparency to a market that in some areas lacks it. And also, we specialize in SaaS. We have the biggest pool of SaaS founders and buyers, and that's really the market that we specialize in the most. And we've all worked at different SaaS companies. I've built and sold a SaaS company. And so that's really the market that we tend to focus on the most. And then we also have expert support. So we do have in-house M&A advisory plus acquisition success managers. So whether you're looking to sell your business or you're looking to just get a little bit of information about a business, rest assured you're never alone on Acquire.com. We have a full team of M&A advisors that are here to support you. And again, really to help maximize acquisitions for startup founders. And some other things that we do to get more specific in terms of, okay, Andrew, that's cool. How do you actually help founders prepare their business to going to market? Well, for starters, we review a lot of the information that the sellers will present to us. So we'll look at their P&L. We'll look at their transition guide. We'll help them put these items together. We'll help them complete their seller profile. We'll help them complete their listing. And all of this is really important because without these items, it's really hard for you as a buyer to have trust in the listing because there's not enough information. And so it's a big part of our job at Acquire.com to ensure that every listing on Acquire.com has the appropriate information that you need as a buyer to be able to understand if this is an acquisition opportunity that you want to pursue. And one new feature, we announced this, I believe 2 weeks ago, but we have business verification for US startups. So essentially what that means is if you're a startup with a US entity, you must now verify this business. And we use a third-party company called Persona. So this reviews and verifies the incorporation certificate. And this ensures that you're always dealing with legitimate companies and listings. So it's not someone that made up a company and listed it or something like that. So kind of the elongated point I'm trying to make here is we do a lot on our end to ensure that the listings are of high quality and are full of serious sellers. So when you work with Acquire.com, you can rest assured that the listings are of the highest quality. And that's really our goal because that's what helps startups get acquired, plain and simple. So now over to the fun part. Are you all ready for this in terms of the deal review? So I'm switching screens right now. And someone's asking, will there be a presentation recording for future playback? Yeah, every webinar that we do, don't leave. But yes, we'll definitely have a recording of this available, probably out by, I don't know, maybe Friday or Monday at the latest. Okay, now I got to do another roll check. Can you guys see my screen right here? So this is the Acquire.com Marketplace. All right, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Okay, before we dive into these, we have these deals up here at the top that we're going to be going over, me and James. But before we do, I wanted to just go over a few things and really show you how the Acquire.com platform works. So if you get anything out of this webinar, what I'd love for you to do is log into your buyer account, click criteria, select which types of startups you're interested in. You can select multiple categories from e-commerce, content, marketplace. You can select the asking price, the revenue multiple, the profit multiple. And what this does is when new startups go live based on your specific criteria, you'll be instantly notified. So you'll never miss out on a deal that matches your acquisition criteria. Now, if you're looking for our best deals, this is a little trick right here. So clearing this, go to all listings. So when you log in, you'll be at browse, click all listings and click guided by experts. So these are the deals that are being managed by our in-house M&A team. And so these deals, when you click on them, when you request access, you can guarantee that you're going to see a SIM, you're going to see a 36-month profit and loss statement, transition guide. It's going to have a much higher level of due diligence on them. And then we're also working with the founder as well directly. So these are kind of the golden leads, if you will. As you can see, a lot go under offer. So definitely check those out. And then also, if you're not familiar with how Acquire.com works, to get access, if you haven't upgraded, you have to pay $400 a year to request access to the data room for startups with less than a $250,000 in trailing 12 months revenue. And anything above that is $800 a year. So check that out. That's how you get access to the data room. That's how you learn the business's name and you get access to all the information that we put together with the founder. It allows you to sign the NDA and start speaking directly with the owner of the business. And for context, this page really just works as a blind teaser or a blind profile. All right, James, you ready to dive into the first one?
Yeah, let's hit it. Let's get in there.
All right, man. We got a Shopify app startup, e-commerce shipping solution designed to streamline logistics and reduce delivery costs. I'm gonna hand this one over to you and get your initial take, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, so what we like about Shopify is that it tends to come with a pretty easy transition, right? Because it's in the store, so you have all the analytics already plugged in. So that's just a super high level what we're thinking. If you want to scroll down to the profit margins, Andrew, I took a look at this yesterday. I think it's
They'd be right here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So just looking at that from that set, those aren't super great, but also I think something that definitely can be improved upon. If you take a look at a P&L, you want to figure out like what's the cause. Was it like a one-time cause that made the expenses for some month or a year so high? And then if there's something that you can probably fix or you have a cheaper solution, you could really up that profit margin. So yeah, Andrew, that's a good start, I think. If you have something else to add on the Shopify, maybe.
Yeah, I've actually I purchased a Shopify app with some friends one time. This was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago or something like that. And what I love about Shopify apps is you have built-in distribution, you have built-in analytics, you have built-in pretty much everything because you're in the Shopify app ecosystem. And what I think is interesting about this business is, and what I'd probably want to dive into is, how much progress have they made in the Mexican market? Because that seems to be the market that they're serving. But I like to see that it's 5 years in business, so that's a good sign. And also, it is bootstrapped, so there's no investors on this. It is growing as well. But James, I'm definitely on the same page as you in terms of, when you acquire one of these businesses, one of the first things I typically want to understand is what are the opportunities to increase the profitability of the business? So they're making $1 million in revenue, but of that, let's say 15% is their profit margin. What is the opportunity to get that to 20 or 30 or potentially 40 or 50? Uh, so I don't know if maybe they're acquiring customers at a very high rate. That would be the main questions I would have. But I love the product in terms of, it's a Shopify app, specialized solution tailored for e-commerce businesses in Mexico. Um, if I believe there's an English version of this.
Yeah, I believe there is too. So right there is a pretty solid growth opportunity it's pretty out of the box if they want to expand this into the United States, Canada, Western Europe, that type of thing.
Yeah, so it's already in place. So that's kind of my main thoughts. But all in all, I think this is a good business, especially by the price. Asking price is 600K, 3.9 profit. And again, it's doing 1 million in revenue, 154,000 TTM profit. So if you were able to simply just double the profit while keeping the TTM revenue in place, that could be a really interesting business, and you'd arguably increase the value of the business, I think, very, very quickly. So there may be a situation here where the owner has some expenses on the business that may not be essential. So that could be a conversation that I would lean into. James, anything you'd want to add to this listing before we move on to the next one?
No, I think you hit it. Growth opportunity in the English-speaking market. Great foundation with the Shopify and Shopify store. And then what you can do to bring up the profitability, because it looks like there's probably something you could definitely do to bring it up from 15-ish% or whatever it is to like half, like you mentioned.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so this one right off the bat, it's based in France. So this is a scalable data API and search engine for real estate professionals. Very similar prices. This one's also for 600K. It's looking for a 3.6 profit multiple. And then these are the TTM revenue numbers and the TTM profit. James, you want to give kind of your first thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at what you highlighted, I love profitability. That's just really solid at the jump. The pricing, I think, is also pretty attractive based on that, based on those margins. It's a little bit less revenue than the previous listing, which was priced the same, but it's significantly more profitable. So that's helpful. And then looking at the operating history, let's see. Oh yeah, 4 years or so. Sol that's been around that long, good profitability, good start.
Yeah, I guess my one concern with this business is maybe not necessarily a huge concern, but when I see numbers like this where the margins are extremely high, um, it's probably, a very small group, maybe one engineer, maybe two at the most, maybe a contractor or something like that. So you'd want to be able to retain that knowledge from the original owner of the business. But I really like, I think you mentioned this, James, but just the scalability in terms of what this business essentially does. It's an API where um, others that are looking to work with property dealers, investors, large clients, they can use their API to seamlessly access extensive real estate data and exclusive investment insights. So I think this is a great buy for someone who has a knack for real estate, maybe has an in at some different companies. I would definitely look at these competitors to see how big. There's always so much you can learn from competitors in terms of what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. And again, when you're buying a business like this, you don't need it to get to 10 million in revenue or anything like that. Even if you were able to get this from 200K to $1 million, you essentially just potentially 5x your original investment. Um, so that's kind of my final thoughts. James, anything else you'd like to add on
Yeah,
that?
I wanted to touch on the scalability portion. Essentially, it's just renting out the API to whatever their ICP is, which it looks like real estate professionals. So there's not a whole lot of account maintenance there. So if you get the right people in there, you don't need a lot of team behind it. And so I think you can definitely scale it with a smaller team than is typical.
Yeah, and I love business models like that where, essentially with a business like this, it's kind of like a partnership channel where you're working with other people to sell your product, where they're tapping into your API. And I assume, yeah, here we go. So B2B SaaS charging monthly recurring fees for the usage of their API. So if you were able to get, and this is obviously not guaranteed, but if you're able to get a large customer in the real estate space heavily reliant on this API, that would be really, really interesting and allows you to scale very, very quickly without having a large, sales force or anything like that. So I like it. All right. Ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, we got a SaaS startup. This one's in Australia. We're going international today. So this is a user experience testing tool offering qualitative and quantitative insights. Do you care if I kind of give the first swing at this one,
Yeah,
James?
yeah, try it.
Okay, so this business is well positioned for significant growth. We believe our asking price is reasonable. Despite no active marketing for 2 years, despite redevelopment, the business says, okay. So right off the bat, this seems to be a business that is what I'd call what's maybe the appropriate term? It just needs some extra love. It sounds like the owner of the business. Let me see, reason for selling. Yeah, so you got good reasons for, making an offer, flexible financing terms, selling the company while remaining involved, smooth transition. So this looks like an opportunity to potentially acquire this business from someone who just isn't keeping up with it. It's kind of sitting on the side. And I love these products. I'm a sales and marketing type founder, and so I always like seeing these types of products, even though they are competitive. But again, you got to keep in mind um, when you're buying these businesses, if you can just double that to $1 million, that's a huge win. Or if you can find a way to increase profitability, that's a huge win. If you can do both, that's a massive, massive win. And I think, oh, here we go. Look at this, James.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's super interesting to me. I'd love to figure out how that slices out, right? Like how much is going to tier one, the pricing, and how much is going to tier three. I like that all three tiers are billed annually. I think that's great. I think it's really compelling that they have an enterprise solution. Super hard to make, super hard to sell, and potentially really sticky.
Yeah, building a product where you can sell it for $600 a month and you bill annually, that's not easy to do. So that means they're driving a lot of value and they've been around for a long time. So the first question I probably have is how many are in the enterprise bucket? How many customers are in the pro bucket? So think of this as enterprise, middle market, SMB, and that give you an idea of who the product is best suited for. And then one thing I might actually do is just go all in on one bucket. If everyone's at the SMB, I might consider going all in on the SMB bucket, just again doubling down on what's working. Um, so just some thoughts there. But again, this one looks like it's the founders open to various possibilities, including flexible financing. So this could be a good acquisition, and it's also growing too without much maintenance from the founders. So this could be one of those gems where it just needs a little bit of extra energy and uh, just excitement from a new owner to take it to the next stage of growth. So
Yeah, I love how it's growing, still growing 20%, which isn't like hyper growth, mind you. But after I think 14 years, right? Wasn't it founded in 2010? I want to say. Yeah,
yeah,
20. And so it's still growing after 14 years and what appears to be minimal work by the founder, or maybe just sort of, he's just kind of working on the side and he has a more primary focus now. So that's a really good indication for me.
yeah, likewise. And another way to think about this too is, one question I have is, are they acquiring new customers or are they just servicing existing customers given it's been in business for, I mean, I think there's a stat where um to be in business for 14 years, it's like close to zero or something like that. So that's a huge accomplishment. So this could be a great business in terms of someone who I could see someone who's maybe a VP of marketing, starting a marketing agency, wants to have some sort of, unique IP. Um, I think that's kind of where I see this being a good buy for. So anyways, you ready for this one, James?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So generative AI tool that operates on a proprietary AWS-based system with no external API dependency. I'm just gonna read this, James, and then I'm gonna pass it
Yeah,
over to
yeah,
you.
go ahead.
Okay, so let's figure out what this does. Okay, so sophisticated software that utilizes generative AI to transform images into headshots. Okay, and now I'm going straight to competitors. Okay, so this is one of those you upload a picture and it comes back. You can upload a picture of yourself and I'm not an expert in these businesses, but um, you upload a picture of yourself in a shirt and it comes back with you in a suit in Paris or something like that. I haven't personally used one. Um, but James, what do you think? I guess, my take on these businesses is number one, I think the biggest red flag that would concern me is I don't even know the business model, but I'm gonna guess it.
I think it's one-offs. Yeah, $90 per
Yeah,
generation.
it's not recurring. So this could just be a cash grab. Or it could be you're buying Bitcoin in 2008 or something like that. I don't know. We
Yeah,
we
I'm struggling with the same thing, to be honest. I mean, it hasn't been around for that long, year and some months. It has had crazy growth in the first year. But how much it is attributed to just the wave of AI, which we're seeing, and how much is of that is attributed to just true product market fit. So not really sure where this one could go. I mean, it's been impressive so far. The open offers suggest that it's pretty flexible, both on price and deal structure, stuff like that. So if you're into this type of thing, if you really understand the space and you know the competitors and what this one has that's unique to those, I think it's a great one. If you're not super into AI, I personally want to go in, but teach their own.
Yeah, and if I did buy this, and I was like, okay, how do I turn this around? So they're essentially trying to replace photographers. I think photography is taking a hit with AI. So what I would do is I would probably see if I can build out a white labeled version or a partnership program where I sell this into other photography studios or something like that so they can get on the AI train. So I think this one is really less of a tech play and more of a distribution play. So understanding their distribution, the margins are obviously really, really attractive at 93%. But that would be just kind of my main hesitation is, okay, so if I buy this, is it going to be disrupted next month? And if so, there's still value in the business. But I think the value would need to be creating a different moat, not a technology moat, but rather a distribution moat. So just some random thoughts on that one. Anything you want to add on this one, James?
No, I think that's a really interesting play. You think about it replacing photographers, but what you could do is syndicate with photographers, right? And you could build something in there where it's like, oh, you already have this photo of me. I'm the photographer. I have a photo of you. I'll charge you $30 to get in different settings via this. So if you could distribute that equally, that'd be really powerful. Yeah, I guess tons of ways you could take this, just per your strengths.
Yeah, and again, I keep going back to, if you buy this business and you're looking to, I think this is definitely a buy to grow it. So you would want to just understand how you're getting customers now, and are there any other, distribution channels that you can stand up quickly that are in your area of expertise. I do not think this is a good buy for a passive buyer who's just hoping that, these numbers will stay the same without much work involved. And again, noticing this has been in business for just a little over a year. And again, with the revenue not being recurring, that gives me um, potentially another opportunity where you could go back to, um, I guess, put another way. When I see businesses like this, it's B2C. They're selling headshots to, I assume, individuals. But if you can go and sell this product to businesses, or you go to a large VC-backed company and you say, "Hey, we'll make photos for your whole team," or something like that, or you go to um, photography agencies and you kind of have the same pitch, like, "Hey, you got 100 clients that are looking for photography. Would you be interested in white labeling this product?" So, and the benefits of white labeling, just so everybody knows, um, white labeling is basically where you take a product and you remove your company's branding and you add the other company's branding. And the reason you do this is because it allows the partner to charge a service fee. So, for example, on this AI company, maybe they're charging, let's say, $19 per generation. So you would lower that maybe to like $10 per generation because they're going out and selling it. But what they also do is they can apply a service fee. So they can apply, hey, we're going to do like $1 per photo, but it's going to be on a recurring subscription or something like that. That's where I think this business needs to go to succeed, and I see a lot of opportunity in that. But I would only recommend it for someone um, who has experience with that strategy, and has conviction in that market. All right, ready for the next one, James?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, now we're going to Estonia. So we went to Mexico, we went to France, we got back from Australia,
New Mexico.
took a stop in New Mexico. Now we're in Estonia. Okay, so business management SaaS designed to streamline accounting, invoice, contracts, and HR. Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to you because I love these businesses. It just
Yeah, I was about
boring,
to say, yeah,
boring, boring, boring. And the more boring it is, it's just gonna be around. So I'll
yeah,
hand it over to you.
yeah. I mean, what's the tie that binds throughout those four categories? I mean, they suck, right? Like nobody likes accounting. No shade to the accountants out there. Invoices are always a pain. Getting payments in are a pain. God knows legal is a pain, and I know that firsthand. And the fact that they've consolidated all this under one roof, and it's been around for 6 years, is really really appealing to me. I wanted to go down. Can you scroll down a bit, Andrew, too? All the way to the growth rate. Yeah, so 20% growth rate for 6 years in this, that tells a lot too. That says that they're durable, or and they've been around and they're continuing to grow. So I think there's a lot of value in having all these under one roof in a company that is profitable, and it is has been stuck around for 6 years. And then so the reason for selling, that's pretty compelling to me too, right? Like personal reasons of co-founders, that can mean a lot of things. Sometimes it doesn't mean the most positive thing in terms of why they're leaving. So that could mean that there's some points of negotiation, some room for flexibility in what they're looking to exit for. So initial thoughts, Andrew, what do you think? I know we're pretty agreed on the area they're in, at the least.
Yeah, I think these businesses, I think, will hold true for, the next decade. That's probably maybe an overstatement, but what stood out to me was they also specialize in business and corporation compliance. So what that means is they basically, and this reminds me of the GoDaddy approach. So what GoDaddy does is they get you in the door with a domain, and they upsell you a website, and they upsell you. You can check the GoDaddy K1. And basically their whole strategy is to get you in with a low price offering, and then they just upsell you. So increasing the lifetime value of the customer. And so I think it's really interesting that they have so many different products that they offer, especially new businesses where you need accounting, you need invoices, you need contracts, you need HR. And then also, if I don't know if this is a lead generation service or something they offer at for free or at a cost or whatever it may be, but this is probably where I would dive in. Is what is the business formation? How does it look? And they also have international payroll. So there's a lot of really complex software here. So I guess my questions would be, how are you acquiring customers? In terms of current growth rate, where's that coming from? And then I'd probably want to know how long are customers staying around? Because I do think there's a trend in SaaS that's emerging where not everybody wants a separate accounting system, invoice system, contract system. So if you're able to kind of come in and undercut on price and say, hey, we do all this stuff, especially for small businesses where they're extremely price sensitive, I think that could be pretty interesting. And then just the growth rate. So our EBITDA margin is 12%, and the growth TTM is 26%, exceeding the rule of 40, value of 40.92. So it seems like the business is doing pretty good. So those would be my questions: is how durable are the products? How close are they to feature parity of maybe some of their other competitors? Let's see, competitors, other players in the market from a corporation accounting compliance, taxes to international payroll. Our unique value proposition is based on technology, accounting, and the use of AI. So they got AI in there too to automate manual labor, which would allow us to scale without the need of more HR. Also, the fact we have real customer stories can relate to. So I think this is, to me, this is a little bit of a yellow flag. Every business has competitors. So if I was speaking with a founder, I mean, obviously they built a great business. You always got to remember, only 4% of startups ever get past $1 million in revenue. So bravo to this founder. But I'd want to understand the quality of the product that they built. How does it compare to, more point solutions, such as companies that just focus on accounting or invoicing or contracts or business formation, international payroll? So maybe speaking to some customers or reading case studies. Again, if you request access on this, you'll see a full SIM and you'll see pretty much all the information you need. So I almost want to access this one, but I can't. So I guess I'll just leave that one there. But I really like these businesses because, again, accounting help isn't going away, contract help isn't going away, invoice help isn't going away, HR help isn't going away. And I'd really kind of narrow in on this right here, which is specializing in business and corporation compliance. So my point being is there's a beautiful strategy in business where if you're able to get a business at the point of incorporation, you have the opportunity to upsell them multiple different products. And again, that's GoDaddy's whole strategy. And they're obviously a very, very large business. So they could have the opportunity to expand into more products, or just double down on the ones they have. Yeah, that's all I got. James, any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a law firm strategy too, right? Like you get in companies that you don't really make much off incorporating them, get them set up. But then the idea is that you get them in, they're gonna stay with you throughout seed financing, Series A financings, every financing they do essentially, and then you end up selling them in an ideal world, and you generate much more fees off that. So I love that strategy. And one last thing I wanted to point out here is that it looks like it has an offshore team that's already set up, which should be significantly less cost than one that's domestic, depending on where you are. So if we could figure out something that P&L that you can reduce the cost on, there's already quite a bit of cost cutting built in. So something to think about as you look at this.
Yeah, I completely agree. Solid business. All right. Okay. Moving on to we're going back to Mexico. Okay, so this is a low code SaaS platform specifically designed for financial institutions. It's doing 7 million in revenue. Or excuse me, asking price is 7 million. They're looking for a 6x TTM net profit multiple. TTM revenue is 2.3 million. TTM profit is 1.2. And this business seems to be doing quite a bit. Okay, let me dive into this one a little bit.
That's what I thought too. There's a lot
James,
of bullet points.
do you have any initial thoughts?
Yeah, it does seem to be doing a lot. I like that they've catered or trying to cater to one person that appears to be financial institutions, aka banks and maybe some broker dealers and stuff like that. So I think that's a really good sign. Um, I'm not super clear on what exactly they're doing for them because it appears to be about 7 or 8 different things. So I'm not sure there's like a specific tie that binds there. But do like that it's not just, hey, we're getting no code for every business in Mexico. So that's helpful from the outset for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And some of the best businesses are where you're selling to a customer type that has money, like a true B2B SaaS play, rather than B2C or yeah, just basically not B2C. B2C is great, but in my experience, scaling B2B is a lot easier because you can get very, very specific on how to find those customers, how to understand their pain points. So you can build a really strong go-to-market engine around how to acquire most of those customers. So the first thing I would dive into is really I like the growth rate.
Yeah, I do too. I saw that.
Yeah, this is a good business. And the growth opportunities, untapped market potential. So lots of I wonder if this could be brought into other markets, expansion in other countries, um, scalable through partnerships. So this one is very, very interesting. Because I also do think there's a big rise in kind of low code SaaS platforms, making it really easy and simple. So I would just want to dive into the product a little bit more. I think that's the first thing I would do is because it's hard to really get a full picture in my mind around what does the product do? What specifically is the company solving? So building technology is slow and expensive. Traditional software development requires teams of highly skilled engineers, limiting access to technology for financial solution. Offers an all-in-one platform that allows financial institutions to create digital products without coding knowledge. Companies' intuitive platform makes it easy to design, develop, and launch web, mobile, and even banking applications. So that's pretty impressive in terms of a product. When you're working with banks, they definitely do due diligence on your business because they have a lot of security concerns. So this is interesting. I'd want to really talk to the founder around
Yeah.
how are you even getting in front of banks? Do you have one bank I could speak to that just loves the product so much? And what has the ROI been since working with you? And they've been around for 8 years.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, when you work with banks, they have so many privacy concerns. They have so many regulations that are applicable to them. They get audited and stuff like that. They just have a lot under the roof, and a lot of it is obviously customer accounts with millions of dollars in them. So I'm wondering, like, if this is compliant in Mexico, is it also compliant in the United States? Because that's a whole set of regulations that is pretty separate from the Mexican one. So I'm curious whether it's transferable pretty easily to different markets. or if it's actually specific to the Mexico's regulations.
That is a really good point in terms of it could also be an opportunity if you're able to, bring this over to the United States market. But when you're working with banks, yes, there's a saying where, a lot of times when people start businesses in terms of, regulatory compliance, you're not really building a tech company, you're building a regulatory compliance business. So if they've already figured out how to scale into other countries beyond Mexico, or you could just potentially continue to double down where they're winning as a start. But the numbers
Yeah, numbers
are
are solid.
hard. Yeah, they're doing something right. It's extremely hard to deny. 2.3 million, 1.2 in TTM profit. So very, very interesting business. All right, ready for the next one, James?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we got an AI-powered TPRM platform for secure business partnerships and risk reduction. You want to kind of give your first thoughts on this one, and I'll chime in second.
Yeah, I might have to Google what TPRM means. I get kind of lost in the acronyms.
Yeah, I don't know what TPRM means.
Yeah, I don't think this one is profitable just by looking at it. So, number one to think about, right? Like what? Yeah, there you go, -10. Yeah, so what is your goal, right? Like if this is just a turnaround play, maybe it's the right one for you. Passive income, minority investor, probably not the right one for you. Let's see what they do. This software as certified risk management solution helps organizations reduce financial losses, operational risk.
Yeah, someone was nice enough to say it's a third-party risk management platform.
Oh, there we go.
Segment
Oh,
cybersecurity.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
We do these reviews live. We don't.
Yeah, we're going in cold. Let's see.
Okay, so it's I gotta read that again. That
Well,
was
it's
not.
growing, which is good, right? And they're adding enterprise clients. Both these things are good. They might have a pretty solid path to profitability.
Well, look at that growth rate though.
It's massive. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, so one thing, I don't think I'd ding it on the lack of profitability because it's clear that they're pushing everything towards growth because they're seeing 1,000% growth. That's wild.
Yeah, I wonder, does it say whether this is bootstrapped or has investors? Because it kind of screams
Yeah, bootstrap loans,
angels. Yeah.
angel investments. So you'd
It's
have
kind of,
to.
this
That's
is, when was it founded, Andrew? Can you scroll up a bit real fast? 2016. Oh, wow.
8 years ago.
Okay, I was expecting one that was founded like a couple years ago, but this has been around for 8 years. They've slugged it out, so that's great. They might have
Yeah.
had to take some bridge loans, so they might be carrying some debt. Something to think about too, to give them for the chops, if they haven't been profitable this entire time.
Yeah, and their forecast for 2024 is aiming 1.35 million USD with a very path to profitability. So it looks like they're pushing for profitability, which is great. So it looks like what they're doing is they're reducing expenses, or no, excuse me, they are continuing to grow, but reducing expenses. So revenue is going up, and then also profitability is climbing with it. If they can continue on this growth trajectory, this could be a great bit. This is almost, if you have conviction in this business, this could be one of those businesses where it's probably better to talk to the owner sooner rather than later. Because if they're correct in terms of we're going to double revenue at the end of this year, you could potentially acquire the business and benefit from the tailwinds. Because obviously, once they hit this number, if it was me as a founder, I'd be increasing the sale price for sure. And why are they selling?
Business challenges.
Business challenges. So that's fairly vague. So I'd wanna dive into that. And this is why, in acquisitions, it's so important to like you have to get on a call with potential sellers. Like you cannot I cannot stress this enough. And I said this last webinar, but if you get anything out of this webinar is when you're interested in potentially acquiring a business, get on a call with the owner, and ask just, questions that you have concerns with, build goodwill, really get them excited to potentially work with you. That first call really is, it's going to set the stage for everything moving forward. So review their documents, review all the materials that they have available, really go into the call prepared, respect what they built. And if everything goes good after that second call, offer to schedule a second call if you're interested, because there's a lot to this business that I don't think you can cover on one call. But it's definitely an interesting business. I now like I have questions all over the place. I'm asking, what is the AI angle? I have to assume that's new. Is that what's causing the growth rate?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest question is, I mean, what does business challenges mean? And if you're growing at this rate, like, which is insane, why are you trying to jump ship? And there may be a really good answer, you know what I mean? Maybe there's something personal going on, or I don't know, team member left, something like that. But that's an unknown to me right now that I would want to identify pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean they've been in the business for 8 years, so they could just be tired and looking
Yeah, totally,
to exit.
totally.
All right, ready for the last one, James?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, a powerfully simple cloud phone system and licensed telecommunication operator serving Southeast Asia. Asking price 2.93 million. Looking for a 6x net profit multiple. TTM revenue 1.1 million. TTM net profit about $500,000. There's a lot of nice numbers right here too.
Oh yeah.
What's your take?
Feels like it's a crowded space, just from literally the first sentence in the description. Um, Again, yeah, let's see. Has been licensed telecommunication operator. Um, Also, again, Southeast Asia, maybe not the best for everybody, just based on where you're located. But if you're over there, it might be perfect. Yeah, growing at a pretty decent rate, good margins. How long is? Oh yeah, 7 years. Also helpful. What do you think? I'm trying to get a feel for what they actually do. That's my actual question.
Yeah, let's dive in. Okay, Singapore's SME, telco leader serving an evolving hybrid workforce. Its licensed next generation VoIP platform is relied on by mid-sized organizations and heavyweights in the barely penetrated multi-billion dollar Southeast Asia market. The company's powerful yet easy to use platform enables businesses to migrate legacy PBX solutions to flexible and cost-effective cloud-based solutions with zero capital investment. So basically, number one, I'd want to sign the NDA and get more information on this business because that would tell me right away. But to my knowledge, this is kind of like a talk desk or, basically a cloud phone system. If you've used any of those where your sales team all has, instead of having cell phones, you take calls from your computer. I believe I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I think that's what I'm thinking too. Again, not sure, but that's what it's reading to me as right now.
So what questions would you have for the owner of this business?
Yeah, so if you go up, they're really relying on the defensibility of them having a license right now. Let's see, they mentioned it like 2 or 3 times the initial. So that's a question. Like, is it really that maybe these licenses are scarce, maybe they're really expensive, maybe they're easily repeatable based on behavior, stuff like that. So that's what I want to know immediately. Like, how defensible is this, and how much of that is relying on the license, and is there going to be issues with me receiving that license and getting it transferred? That's the one moat that they seem to be relying on right now that I would want to nail down and drill down more on.
Yeah, I agree. What else I got? Okay, so financing, friends and family round. They've only raised 150,000, three investors. Purchase will assume with no liabilities. Growth essentially flat. The current founders are looking for a buyer to expand the platform into other markets, and we are looking to realize the hard work the last 7 years. So, you could get creative in a deal structure on this business as well given, I don't live in Southeast Asia, so, that's a market I don't have expertise in. So if I was to make an offer on this business, I'd probably want to retain the founders for at least a period of time and have a strong growth strategy in place, understanding what's working, what's not, what can I bring to the table that they currently haven't been able to execute on. So we can go after this market worth of $91 billion dollars and growing at 15% compounded annual growth rate. So it's one of those businesses where, it has a lot of potential, but I'm wondering, do they actually own the software or are they licensing it? And why are customers choosing them? Like the first question I'd have, I love products that where they have a lot of competitors, and what they're able to do is basically, they already have a solution. And there's actually something called the 10x. It needs to be 10 times better, because it needs to be 5 times better because it takes me time to learn everything and get my team involved, and then 5 times better because it's already working. So if they're successfully replacing existing, um, again, going back up to the top, if they're replacing existing cloud phone systems with their solution, that would be a strong signal in terms of the quality of the product. So I'd want to understand, um, like my first question would probably be, can you give me an example of a customer that was using a different provider? Why did they move over to you? How often does that happen? Because again, if the solution is that good and people are moving over,
Yeah. Well, I was
that,
just thinking that the incumbents in the space are so legacy and strong. Like, why is it differentiated? And I think you're right that if they have, someone switched over from like their equivalent of like, I don't even know what's a good big telecom company over there, that they switch from that to this, like, okay, like that's great. Why and how can we expand upon that?
you'd be surprised. There's kind of a recurring saying in SaaS where you can just invest in like the new category leader like every 10 years.
Give
You
a good
know,
return.
yeah, like, whether it's a, CRM, there's obviously some exceptions that, obviously never go away, but if there's a core product and it's used by, sales teams or whatever it may be, you can just continue to invest in the newer version of it and see great returns based on that. It's a Jason Lemkin quote that I came across. I could be wording it wrong, but long story short, I think there's potential on here, but a few questions left unanswered. So if you're interested, you got to just upgrade to acquire and access the data room, and then you'd be able to um, speak directly with the seller. But to summarize, I just want to go over what we went over today. So we went over a Shopify app. This one was fun. E-commerce shipping solution designed to streamline logistics and reduce delivery costs. We also went over a scalable data. And let
Yeah,
me
I
know which,
like this one.
yeah, let me know which one, to make it fun. Let me know which one you guys liked the most in terms of how me and James's banter was on this. A scalable data API and search engine for real estate professionals. And then we have a user experience testing tool offering qualitative and quantitative insights. A generative AI, basically AI photo generator. Business management SaaS
Yeah,
to
I love this one.
Hey, you can't sway people right now.
Sorry,
Uh,
I'll be
uh,
impartial.
business management SaaS designed to streamline accounting, invoicing, contracts, and HR. And again, I'm kind of stuck on this. Is do they actually help with incorporation? Um, Low code SaaS platform for financial institutions, or the AI powered TPRM platform for secure business partnership. Which one do you think was your favorite? If you had to pick one.
You talking to me?
I'm asking the crowd. If you want to
Okay,
just
okay. I already cast my vote, but I'll shut up now.
So we got the Shopify e-commerce shipping solution, scalable data API for real estate professionals, user experience testing tool, generative AI, business management SaaS, low code SaaS platform for financial institutions, or the AI powered TPRM platform for secure business partnerships. All right, my personal favorite, I'm gonna put mine in. I think it's this one.
Yeah, dude, I'll do the same. I'll officially cast my vote.
Yeah, Shopify apps are, again, if you're a first time buyer, I highly recommend looking at Shopify apps because they have the billing built in, they have the analytics built in, they have distribution built in, and you can get some on the lower end. So as you gain more acquisition knowledge, I call them SaaS with training wheels. All right, that's all we got. I was hoping we had time for Q&A at the end, but I want to be conscious of everybody's time here. But how do we do? I love just feedback. Was that awesome? Was that uh, just the worst thing ever?
Yeah, 60 minutes you'll never get back. Thanks, Tanya.
I guess, again, we're doing these every other week. And really what we're trying to do is just educate both buyers and sellers on, these are all listings me and James had not looked at, and we're just kind of cruising the marketplace, just like a lot of you guys do and gals do. If you had any feedback, for us to make these more entertaining, or, what can we do to make these, even better next time?
Yeah, I like that feedback, Igor. That's good. Making them theme. We can do just a certain subset of SaaS one time or something.
Consider making them themed. We could do that. We could do like one where it's all like Shopify SaaS or something like that, or all SaaS over 1 million in revenue. All right. Well, this is all great feedback. Again, appreciate all of you. We will have a replay out probably within the next I'd say by Friday. I'm gonna say I can promise it by Monday. If it's not out by Monday, I'll be sure to reach out to Roger, our head of marketing. But jokes aside, thanks again for joining. It really means a lot to us to
Yeah, we
do
love talking
these.
to you guys.
Yeah, these are fun. We like looking at deals. We like helping startups get acquired, and the best part of the job is when we get a happy buyer and a happy seller and successful acquisition. So I'm gonna go ahead and on that note, hope you
See
guys
everybody. Thanks
have a
again for
great
coming.
have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys again soon.
Cheers.